We're going live. How you doing, everybody? It's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my show today. Today is May the 16th. I think I got today's date right. Yesterday, I think I may have said it was the 14th, so I skipped a day. I just I'm time traveling. That flux capacitor I've got in my little Sonata. We're just going all over the place. But today, I think I've got the date right. I think I've got the timing right. We're live at 1 o'clock Eastern time here on May the 16th, 2020, and I welcome all of you to my live show for the day. And I thought I would go live today because I was going over my comments from a lot of you as viewers who write to me all the time, tell me how much you enjoy my channel, how much you hate my channel. How much I talk too much and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I thought I would, I went over a couple comments and I keep coming up with similar, there's a lot of similar questions, but there are a lot of questions that are sort of, they really get you wondering. And well, some of the questions are, what's cruising going to be like when we get back to it? And I thought today I would do a video. I do a live show because I can't make a video these days, talking about what it's going to be like, the new normal, some of the things that could be the new normal going forward. I came up with 11 of them, and some of them have offshoots and stuff. So we'll get into it. You can comment all you want about it. Tell me what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Say hi to me. Tell me where are you watching me from if you're out there. I mean, come on, folks. You are out there. I know you're out there. There's already 83 of you here. What else are we going to do? We're locked in. Say hi to me today. Tell me where you're watching me from. Tell me what your high temperature is today. Say hi to each other, of course. A lot of you do that, obviously. A lot of my sponsor members are popping in here like crazy. If you want to know, you may or may not care, but just so you know, when you see the comments popping up, you might notice that some of the folks have comments where their names are highlighted in green ink rather than black ink. And then beside their name is an emoji. And some have different emojis from others. That's because those folks are members of TWB. They're sponsor members of this channel, and you can become one too by hitting the join button and filling in, just do what it tells you to do. Anyway, sponsor members get to use special emojis that are reserved for them only, and sponsor members join me Monday nights at 7 o'clock for a sponsor member hangout show from 7 to 8 o'clock every Monday night Eastern time. Where just they and this guy get to hang out for about an hour or so, and you can talk to me about whatever you want to talk to me about. It doesn't have to be about cruise ships. And some of my sponsor members are actually YouTubers who are aspiring and trying to get up into it. And they ask me questions about how to be a better YouTuber. And I don't mind talking about that. Perfect time to do it on the sponsor member show. It gives those of you who are curious of what it's like behind the scenes for me to do what I do for a living, which is this, how it actually works. And again, I thank all of you who are doing that. It helps keep me on the air, and thank you, especially in these days with the ad rates just plummeting to nothing. It's a way to keep me going. So thank you. Also, thank you all of you out there who are just watching me because you just love following the cruise ship news that I provide you. Fantastic, because I love talking about cruise ships here, following it across the board, changes all the time. Thank you out there, those of you who are already doing this. You're already subscribed to TWB. Here I am right here. I'm here. Folks are already subscribed to this channel. If you're thinking about subscribing, please hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell notification icon that is also down below. Thank you for giving me thumbs ups for my videos that I've recorded. Thank you for giving me thumbs ups on this live show. I really do appreciate it. These thumbs ups are really important. They're free for you to hand out to a creator. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything, but boy, does it make a difference to the analytics of this guy's channel. It's huge. Thank you also to those of you who have joined me on Facebook. Love the fact that we're over 4,500 followers now on Facebook for Traveling with Bruce, spelled with 2 L's, and also Instagram. Oh man, this is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We're 880 followers on Instagram now. 880 followers on Instagram, 4,500 followers on Facebook. 54,000 or 55,000 subscribers, 54,500, 600 subscribers. It's unbelievable. Growing every day despite my technical issues with YouTube at the moment. And then those of you who are, I don't know what time you folks sleep. You're kind of like me, I suppose. Sometimes you sleep well and sometimes you don't. Anyway, a whole bunch of you have in the last week or so been going here. You've been going to this little location, the RedBubble Store for TWB. Traveling with Bruce RedBubble Store, which the link is down below here underneath the video description down here. On the RedBubble Store, you can get your hands on COVID masks for Traveling with Bruce. Traveling with Bruce logoed COVID face masks to protect yourself against the virus. And if that isn't enough, and it isn't, folks are getting these items here where they're getting mugs like these. I have 30 different logos, 35 different logos for Traveling with Bruce. Here's another different logo and product. I have tops for women, T-shirts for guys, coffee mugs, drinking mugs, clocks, pillowcase covers, and now COVID masks. There's just no end to this stuff. And thank you, each and every one of you who've been going to the RedBubble Store, which again is linked down below. You can get your hands on a TWB mug like that, or a TWB T-shirt like this, whatever, wherever you want this logo. I got something for you. Unbelievable. The folks at RedBubble, they do it all for me. I don't have any involvement in the day-to-day, minute-to-minute, second-to-second operation of RedBubble. And thank God, because I'd screw it up. Cheers, by the way. But the folks at RedBubble, they take care of your order. And just so you know, if you're in Canada or in the U.S. or in Britain or in Australia or wherever you live, if you order off of RedBubble, they know where you are. They're going to ask you to fill in your name and your address because they got to get the shipping information. Knowing where you are, they will then manufacture the item you want in your country. So you don't pay customs and duties and handling nonsense. You don't have to worry about the Canada Post screwing it up across the U.S. border. You don't have to worry about the U.S. Postal Service screwing it up. It's domestic, all made in the country of where you order. This is the beauty of RedBubble. That's why I love these guys. So this shirt was made in Canada because I ordered it for me here in Creston, British Columbia, Canada. But I have viewers in the United States that have this exact shirt that have ordered it. They got it made in the USA, and it's shipped domestically in the USA. They give you a tracking number for your order. They handle the returns if there are any. They take really good care of you. And I love it when my viewers post on Facebook their item, when they're wearing their items or they're showing off their items that they just got in the mail, to let me know, hey, I got this stuff. It's great. Love to see that. It shows everyone else on Facebook that TWB merchandise, you really can get it. It's as easy as pie, and it supports my channel. Every time one of these items is ordered, whatever the item is, I earn a royalty because it's the logo for TWB. And so I don't have to handle the making of it, the shipping of it, the tracking of it. They do it, but they reward me because you are ordering TWB merchandise. So thank you. Thank you so much. This morning at 3 a.m. my time, an order came through. Somebody ordered a mask. Somebody ordered a mask and a T-shirt, I think it was. And the other last night or night before night, somebody was ordering masks. Somebody ordered masks and coffee mugs. Somebody ordered T-shirts and masks. And it's no end to. You can mix and match. And the more items you order, you start getting volume discounts as well. So check it out. And thank you. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Okay, we got 199 viewers here already. Welcome all 199 of you. I hope you're signing in, saying hi to me. I hope you're telling me where you're watching me from. I'm going to try to get through the comments as I go on the show. I wanted to bring up a bit of a news update, and then I'll get into the 11 things that are going to change. First bit of news. If you were here yesterday or the day before yesterday, the last couple of days, on the last few live shows I've done, I was highlighting cruise mapper maps showing where cruise ships are. And I did this yesterday. I showed this picture yesterday. This is Cruise Mapper. This is the Philippines. You'll notice on the right-hand side there, in the upper right-hand, it says Manila. So if you're, let me see if I can get this right. You see my finger over here? Okay, I can't. You're going to lose my hand there. But just up there is Manila in the Philippines. And over on this side down here, way down here, all those cruise ships there, those are all cruise ships. They're all offshore. They got out of Manila Harbor because a typhoon was coming to town, a hurricane. And you can see this blue line here, that squiggly blue line. That is the Eurodam, Holland America Eurodam. It was in the harbor on the 13th of May. And then it came out to sea on the 14th of May. And on the 15th, it was just going north and south, idling about 100 miles away from where it was to let the hurricane come through from the. It was basically going from the bottom here. My hand is over here, it's going from the bottom all the way up to the top, and then took off. And so that was what was happening yesterday. And I was saying to you folks yesterday, after the hurricane passes, the ships will come back in. And lo and behold, let's take a look at. Let's see if I can take a look at this one here. Let's see. Here's an image here from from way up in space. Again, this is Cruise Mapper. You can see the three yellow ships coming in on the right side, and you can see the two green ships from the bottom end here coming in from the left side. And then in the middle there is the Philippines and a whole cluster of triangles. Let me zoom in for you. Here we go. This is today. You'll still see a bunch of ships out at sea over here on this side, but in Manila Harbor, let me zoom in for you what it looks like inside Manila Harbor right there. Here we go. This is about an hour ago. They're all back. There's about 15 of them. They're all clustered in there again, waiting for clearance to bring the crew members from the Philippines back to shore in Manila so that they can go home. Unfortunately, or reality is, these crew members have to be tested on board the ships first. Then when they're cleared to land in Manila, they are then taken to a quarantine facility for 2 weeks quarantine. And I don't know how many at a time they can handle, but this has been ongoing now for weeks. So today there will be a number of crew members will be released today from their 2-week quarantine, which allows a bunch of new crew members to be brought in to start their 2-week quarantine, and so on tomorrow and the day after tomorrow and the day after that, because there are thousands and thousands of Filipinos who are in quarantine from these cruise ships over the last month now. And you're looking here just at this image here and this image here. You're looking at least 20 to 30,000 Filipino crew members awaiting their opportunity. And if you add these ships coming in, there are at least 4 in the Pacific and 2 more just approaching the Philippines. There's like 6 more right there. That's another 6 to 8,000 crew members coming in. So, 30, 40,000 Filipino cruise ship workers are returning or are waiting to be allowed to get off of these ships to get back home. So this is why when I tell you that it is unlikely we're going to see cruise ships sailing anytime soon, this is the big reason. These crew members are all going home. They're not coming to serve us. They're done. Their contracts are ended or suspended, and these folks are all headed. They're all headed back home. And this is just the Philippines, folks. It's Indonesia, Vietnam, India, Pakistan, Taiwan, China, somewhat, European crew members, South American crew members, Caribbean. It just worldwide. It's not uncommon when you go on a 1-week cruise to the Caribbean. You're on a ship with 3,000 passengers and 1,100 crew. 60 countries are represented by the crew. They mention it all the time, but it just goes over our heads. We don't listen to it. We don't really. I appreciate it when I'm on a cruise ship and go, wow, 60 countries. What I think about is the amount of paperwork required just to get these folks, to be on the ships in the first place, and then all the ports of call that these ships go to all the time. Every time you come into a different country, everyone has to be cleared by customs. It's just mind-numbing how bureaucratic that is during regular times. Now, repatriating these people. This is just unbelievably expensive, unbelievably time consuming, logistically unbelievable. Every crew member on board these ships that are leaving or not, they have to be fed, they have to be looked after medically, they have to be, they have to be taken care of. These cruise lines are, this is why cruise lines are dishing out millions of dollars a day in dollars, just floating out. You wonder, how can they be spending all this money? The ships aren't going anywhere. Well, yeah, they are going somewhere. They're taking now crews home, feeding them in the meantime. And even though you get to Manila Harbor, you got to wait however long you got to wait before you can get the folks off the ship, which means you're feeding them every day, every 3 meals a day to be fed. And the laundry has to be done, and the water systems have to be running, and the air conditioning has to be running. You can't be sitting in these ships in 110-degree weather with 100% humidity. I mean, it cannot be done. And the ships are maintained in the meantime and kept up and running. I mean, it just goes on and on. The meter just doesn't stop. And you can see why the senior management of these cruise lines are scrambling with their bankers back in Wall Street and elsewhere to refinance these ships, raise cash any way you can to wait out the downturn. And these are cruise lines that are getting smaller and smaller and smaller as I speak to you, so that if the virus disappeared tomorrow and everyone could go back and cruise again, it's going to take the industry 6 months to get back up and running again, because you got to get these people back. Right now, you can't even fly them home. So that's why these ships are sailing them home. Unbelievable. One more thing on the cruise mapper. Let me show you this image here. Here we go. This was about an hour ago. This is just off of Florida here. Cuba in the bottom there. Georgia and South Carolina and Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana. Did you notice how the cruise ships in the water, there aren't any of them really north of, say, Port Canaveral? You notice that the islands of the Bahamas, there are no cruise ships in the water just north. There's sort of like an invisible line. The only ships that are north of the Bahamas are in port. They're in port in Cape Canaveral near Orlando, and then a little further up in Jacksonville up there, and then up to Charleston and what's that, Savannah. The ships that are north of these ships in the water are in port. They're tied up. And why is that? Because as I am talking to you, the first tropical storm of the year that might become a hurricane, I believe it's called Arthur with the letter A, is forming and getting stronger just north of Grand Bahama Island. So that's why all the ships you notice are south of the Bahamas. They're either in the Bahamas or south of the Bahamas, and they're in the Keys down there, just north of Cuba or over towards the Gulf of Mexico. These ships are avoiding the rough seas, the rough weather, and they just move down there, and that's what they're doing. So like normal, like always, cruise ships avoid rough weather. They avoid hurricanes. And so people are asking me, what happens with all these crew members on these ships if a hurricane comes through? Nothing happens. The ships just kind of do that, and then they come back. Let the hurricane just turn its way wherever it wants to go, and the ships just let it go and stay the heck out of there. Because at the moment, there are no cruise ships on a timeline or on a scheduled run. No one has to go to Miami today. Nobody has to go to Port Canaveral today or Bermuda. No one has to go anywhere. So these ships just, they can go 25 miles an hour, almost 30 miles an hour. They can outrun a hurricane and be hundreds of miles away from the nonsense and let the hurricane just go. And then once everything calms down, they just come back and hang out, wait for their next instruction. So those are some images I wanted to show you today to give you an idea of what's going on out there and what's happening. Over here to the comments section, and they are coming in, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, just got a super sticker. I missed that. Oh, wonderful. Eamon McCarthy sent me a super sticker from, it looks like the UK, because that is in pounds. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate all of you guys who are sending me donations to this channel via super chat or super stickers. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It helps with these low ad rates these days, because, man, the views are way off mine. Now, those of you who don't know, I've been having technical issues all week with my channel. Last week, Saturday, there was an update being done by TubeBuddy, which is an extension I use to help make my thumbnails and all this stuff, the behind the scenes work I do. Anyway, they were doing an update and they were doing a refresh, and so Saturday that was being done. Sunday it wasn't done, and by Monday I was trying to get through their complicated reboot system, and I followed, I thought, the correct instructions on how to reboot everything to get it back up and running, when I inadvertently, it seems, according to Google, I seem to have erased my Google account, just like that. They gave me a new one, and I went, okay, give me a new one, fine. And I'm trying to sign into my channel, and I can't sign in because Google says we don't recognize you. I well, I'll sign in. So they said, well, give us your email address. So I gave my email address. We'll send you a code. Great, they sent me a code. I entered the code from my phone. It went on my email address on my phone. I signed it in. And they said, thank you for sending the code. We don't recognize you. We don't know who the hell you are. You aren't who you say you are. So I can't get into my channel. So all of a sudden I can't get into my YouTube channel on my laptop. This is all a laptop issue. But on my phone and on my big ass iPad, I can get into my channel. And I've been allowed to broadcast live shows on my actually, the irony of it is I'm broadcasting a live show on my laptop with you guys. I have this webcam right here that I'm holding. Here we are, and so I can talk to you on this webcam, and it's attached to my computer, and it's going through StreamYard, which is what you're watching me on, and StreamYard is broadcasting into my channel. So here I am on my phone. If you're watching me, I'm watching myself here on my own phone. I'm right here. But I can only broadcast on my channel through live shows. I cannot make a video and then upload it into my channel. I cannot get into my channel through my laptop, which is the only way I can upload a video, because I cannot upload videos into my phone. And anyway, YouTube, technically, they're having someone get a hold of me somehow soon. And I wrote an email yesterday saying, are you sure? Because I haven't heard from anybody in almost a week now. They said, yes, yep, your channel's fine. You're okay. We love you. Your viewers love you. You're the real deal. We will help you get back. So I'm waiting. So in the meantime, every day I go on my YouTube channel live to talk to you about what I need to talk to you about, rather than make a video. So there you go. So sorry if I'm boring any of you who have heard this already, or you don't think it's pertinent, but that's what's going on. Okay, so here you are. Thank you for being here today and following me. 260 of you now. Fantastic. Let's get into the whole topic here that I wanted to bring up today. The 11 changes that are most likely or possibly going to happen on cruise ships when we look to go cruising in the future. Here are some of the things that we're going to have to be get used to. These are new things. Okay, these are my notes, and that's why I'm going to be looking away from the screen from time to time while I read it out. And these are in no particular order of certainty, severity, for surety, most likely-ity. These are just 11 things that I came up with today, and I'd love to get your thoughts on what do you think about these. All right, so here we go. The one I'm reading about just in the last few days, I mentioned this a couple days ago. Goodbye buffets. Goodbye cruise ship buffets. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Are we neutral about it? I just mention it because it looks to me like cruise lines are figuring out, and from a health perspective, and from a virus pandemic perspective, that buffets are in trouble. Now, I'm going to mention this, and again, you regulars who watch me all the time, you kind of know. You might know this already, or you've heard of this. I've mentioned it on occasion. Like, for example, cruise lines, cruise ships, whenever they come into the United States to drop off passengers and pick up new passengers, they are subject to, and they don't know this whenever it's going to happen, they're subject to surprise inspections that could happen at any time, where the CDC shows up and does a surprise cruise ship inspection, mainly for sanitary, health reasons. They're really there to. They're not interested in looking at how nice the bridge is or how clean the uniforms are for the officers. They're heading for the kitchen. They're heading for the kitchen. They're heading for the buffet area. They're heading for the freezers. They want to see the dishwasher areas. They want to see the laundry facilities. They want to see the sanitary systems on the cruise ship because they're talking about and they're thinking about keeping passengers healthy on cruise ships because you're in an American port, so you're under U.S. sanitary rules for vessels at sea. Now, this is the same for cruise ships. It's the same for container ships. It doesn't matter. But anyway, cruise ships. The CDC will bring in these inspectors and do surprise inspections. And I have talked about in the past how buffet areas have been mentioned a lot. They talk about the what we call the sneeze guards. You know what those are? When you go to the salad area and you look at the food that you can choose from, or the hot area, where the fried chicken is and the hot dogs and the Salisbury steak and the mashed potato and the gravy. I mean, they've got those glass sneeze guards. Well, those glass sneeze guards, they're there to so that we don't, lean in too closely over and above the food. We keep a bit of a distance, and we have a spoon that we're allowed to use, or some kind of a container, tongs or whatever, and then we can take the food. Well, those days are over. As far as the CDC is concerned, I can tell you that not only are cruise ship buffets finito, but our buffets in Las Vegas, I think, will also be vamoosed. I think they will be gone. And just think about this. Your favorite casino, wherever you go to a casino, folks, whether it's Vegas, Atlantic City, or on an Indian reservation, wherever in the U.S. you are, Canada, just think about that. I having lived in Palm Desert, California, Friday nights was seafood night at the casino, and everywhere else. But in the casino in Agua Caliente, in Rancho Mirage near Palm Desert, California, Jennifer and I used to go to at least once a month. We would go to the buffet on Friday night for seafood night. I mean, you got crab legs and the shrimp and salmon, and I mean, you name it. It's just unbelievable. Goodbye to the buffet. Those are going to be completely changed out. And now, how will they do that? How can a cruise line? Let's go back to cruising. How can a cruise ship with say 3,000 passengers on it handle breakfast from 8 until 10 o'clock as efficiently with high volume like a buffet can? Even if they have staff that bring you like hold your plate for you, like for example, or staff, they fill your plate for you on the other side of the sneeze guard, and you just point, and then you walk along and you point, and they hand the plate off to the next. They're all going to be wearing masks. They're all going to be wearing gloves. I mean, it's like being in a surgical room. And then your plate will be brought to you when you are done, and you just sit down. And is that how it's going to happen? We're talking such a slowdown in efficiency here that the volume of people to be brought through will be dramatically dropped off. So there's thought number one. Buffets. What are we going to do? What are they going to just change out the buffet to a restaurant facility and make it like a giant Denny's? Like, is it going to be like a Denny's, or is it going to be where we sit down at the table with our phone and we touch on the phone? The first thing you enter is your table number. What's our table number? There's a little stand there says, or on the table it says table 144. Okay, 144. Enter. And then enter your room number or scan your wristband over your phone. You do that, and cling, the little thing goes. Okay, you're registered in. And how many in your party? 3. I mean, you're just going to be sitting there going, oh, if you're young, you're going to be able to just whip this off. If you're ancient like me, you're going to go, this is so dang frustrating. I hate this. I want to talk to a human being about being fat. Oh, my God. I don't know, folks. I don't know. All right. Number 2, lower occupancy loads. And this is part of the buffet issue too, but it's the whole ship now. If you can't handle as many people as you could before, it might be that what'll happen here is part of the new CDC guidelines will be lower occupancy levels on cruise ships. So I read just 2 days ago about how the TUI cruising group in Europe, they have those ships called Mein Schiff number 4, not Mein Schiff 5, Mein Schiff 6. These are ships that cater to mainly German speaking tourists, but they have all the nationalities covered and all languages covered. If you were speaking English only, you'd still be comfortable on the ship. But the Mein Schiff ship group, that TOI group, they're talking about trying to start cruising this summer in Northern Europe. And they're talking about the possibility of 30% occupancy. Think about that. 3,000 passenger capacity with only 1,000 passengers on the ship. How about that? The crew might go from 1,100 to 600 or 700. I don't really know. But think about that. 1,000 capacity on a 3,000 capacity ship. How about an Oasis class ship? One of the Allure of the Seas, the Oasis of the Seas, Harmony of the Seas, Symphony of the Seas, those great, big, gigantic Royal Caribbean ships that can handle 6,000 to 6,500 passengers with 2,200 crew. How about 2,000 passengers max on one of those ships? You're going to feel like you're on an empty vessel. Now, some of you might go, hey, this is great. This is fantastic. I'm going to have all this space. It's going to be so much quieter. They might have a limit on how many children can be on these things. I mean, I don't know. Which, of course, brings it back to the buffet. The cruise lines are going, why would we limit the buffet now? Because there's only 1/3 or only 30% of the people on board. We don't have crowding at the buffet, but I still think that would be it. But if they did change the buffet to one of those systems where you point and they fill the plate for you, and there's only 1,000 of you on the ship, period, on a 3,000 passenger ship, and in the buffet there might only be 200 people while you're there eating with you, and there are 6 food stands, like 6 food stations handling a total of 200 people total. It would only be 30 at a time. All of a sudden, you can understand how the buffet could kind of work if it were modified, where you don't touch anything and you just point, and they can now handle you with the volume of you and your guests without any issue anymore, because there's only 30% of you eating there. But can you imagine how much money the cruise line is losing in revenue with only 30% occupancy? How can they even break even? That's what I wonder about. So load factors, oh my, are we going to be down to 30% occupancy or 40 or 50? The cruise lines have been running in these boom times up until January or so. It was not uncommon for a cruise ship to leave port wherever in the world they were sailing. It would not be uncommon to be up to 108 to 110% capacity. So a ship designed to hold 3,000 would have 3,300 on board. Why the extra 300 and how? The extra 300 would be in the rooms with mom and dad and the 2 kids. The kids got to roll out. One of them's on the couch. Family of 2 couples are teaming up to go on a balcony room, and they've got the queen bed, and then they've got the fold out couch, or they've got those fold down beds from above. 110% capacity. Those days are gone. Yeah, from what I can tell you. Next new normal to talk about, fewer stops, more sea days. We might have ourselves here a 7-day cruise that in the past would have had 3 or 4 stops along the way. Thinking only from the Caribbean, leaving Miami and having a day at sea and ending up in Ocho Rios and then ending up in Grand Cayman. Then the next day you're in Cozumel, and then it's 2 sea days back home. You might have had a cruise leaving Port Canaveral going to Perfect Day Coco Cay or Coco Key, Nassau, St. Thomas, St. Kitts, back to... That's the normal. That's what it was. The new normal could be, we're leaving Miami on a 7-day cruise, 2 days at sea. Then we're going to Perfect Day at Coco Key if it's on a Royal Caribbean cruise. Another 2 days at sea, and we might stop at Nassau We might not. And it might well be we only have one stop. It's Perfect Day Coco Key. We might do Coco Key twice. We might be a C day, Perfect Day Coco Key, 2 C days, Perfect Day Coco Key, back to Miami. That might be the new normal for some of these lines. In the case of Holland America, they might leave Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades, I guess, to be technically correct, and then they might go to Half Moon Key, and then 2 days at sea, and maybe one other stop, and then that's it. Back we go. Private islands only, reduced port calls. Again, with way fewer passengers as well. More sea days and fewer stops to limit the exposure of passengers to other people at other ports. This could be devastating for Caribbean island nations who had been, receiving 1.5 to 3 million passengers a year right up until the end of 2019. This might be over for good. Think about the folks at the Cayman Islands. I mean, I've been talking about that port in the Cayman Islands. They want to build that dock facility. The government wanted to ram that thing through without any environmental approvals, without any public involvement, and the public was howling for the environmental impact studies. They weren't getting it. They were howling for the budgets, and they weren't getting it. They were going to do a referendum to stop the dang thing. Then it got thrown out by the courts being unconstitutional and everything else. Now, you might not need it at all. It could well be that starting in 2021 or 2022, when cruising starts again, going to the Cayman Islands, only one ship a day and 1,000 people per ship max might be the number. And the Cayman Islands are finding themselves being visited by only 1,000 people a day, or maybe 2 ships a day coming in, 2,000 people a day. All of a sudden, holy moly macaroni, we're down to 10,000 a week coming in, 500,000 a year. We were doing 2.7 million before we were shut down, and we were looking to gear up to 3 million with the docks that we wanted to build. Now you're down to 500,000 a year. Oh, wow. What's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. The Cayman Islands are going to charge much more money per passenger for a visitation fee. That's what they're going to do. That's the first thing they're going to do, because they're going to need bring in money from fewer people, more money from fewer people. The cost of a shore excursion might have a $10 visitor fee attached to it by the government of the Cayman Islands to handle the cost of infrastructure and just, the 65,000 people that live there. A certain number of people are living on tourism. I've always said the solution to the Cayman Islands problem with respect to 2.7 million a year or 3.5 million passengers a year has been, don't build that darn port and dock. No. Bring in only 1 million passengers a year, 1.25 million, charge them triple the fee, charge them $20 each for a landing fee instead of $5 or $8. Make it $20, $25. But now the passengers, instead of being inundated with 12 to 15 to 20,000 passengers per day in a tiny little island like the Caymans, all of a sudden there's only 1,000 or 2,000 of you. There's lots of cabs, lots of places to walk about, and you don't feel like you're part of a mass herd of tourists just being jammed through these tiny little streets. It will become a much more pleasant experience. Economically pleasant, maybe not for the Caymans at first, but then again, you might get used to the new normal and go, hey, this isn't so bad for the island either. We don't have as many buses tooling around. We don't have as many irate cab drivers. We don't have as much traffic, like the traffic jam problems. We don't have those anymore because we can absorb 1,000 people a day, 1,500, 2,000 a day, much easier than 15 to 20,000 a day. Anyway, we'll see what's going on. Unbelievable. All right, so fewer stops, more sea days. Social distancing everywhere. Onboard cruise ships, the social distancing. This is part of this. If we're going to go down in capacity and occupancy levels, we're also going to adhere to the social distancing requirements, which means a minimum of 6 feet distance between dining tables, 6 feet distance between casino players. Have you thought about that? You were on last time you were on a cruise, you went into the casino a couple of times on that 7-day cruise. have you noticed how tight it was? You're sitting playing your little slot machine, and right beside you here were two other slot players. And remember, you were allowed to smoke in some of these casinos on board the vessels. Smoking rules in casinos are different than non-smoking rules everywhere else. But you notice that you had 10 slot machines lined up, and they were all being used between 7 at night and about 10 at night, because between the shows, after the show, before the show, there are folks hanging out there all in their finery. It could well be what the cruise lines will do now is they might take out other areas of the ship and expand the size of the casino. Actually make the casino bigger, even though there's only 1,000 folks on a 3,000 ship cruise ship. There's more room for you in the casino than before, because the distance between slot machines will be greatly improved and changed. And I can see where specialists have been hired, consultants, space utilization consultants are being hired, and the cruise lines are saying, and I think the casinos in Vegas may be the same thing. Before we can open, we've got to prove to the health authorities that if you walk into the casino, there's plenty of room for you to enjoy the slot machines without catching, the virus. You might be made to wear a face mask in the casino as a mandatory thing, and they will likely produce face masks with attractive decorations on the front, and you can pick one of 10 different designs if you want. They might be doing that kind of a thing. I can see the cruise lines coming out with their logos on their face masks to make them less surgical looking, but fewer. The social distancing thing, this just goes across every part of the ship. It just goes on and on. Here's an area. Goodbye steam rooms, goodbye dry saunas, and maybe goodbye to hot tubs, to those hot spas, because of social distancing requirements. You go into a steam room with 5 other people. You go into the men's steam room, it's just the guys. You go into the women's steam room, it's just the gals. You're in a room that maybe is 12 feet by 8 feet, 15 feet by 8 feet. We're talking 120 square feet of floor space, and there's 4 or 5 people sitting in there sweating away and breathing pretty hard, because the longer you're in there, the harder you're working to try and stay cool. We could be finished with steam rooms on cruise ships and in spas everywhere. This social distancing thing, this sharing of airway droplets. I mean, my goodness, a steam room is the absolute perfect place to spread air droplets from person to person. You can't see it, or maybe you can, I guess. Think about that. All of these absolutely wonderful places that cruise ships are famous for. This is what attracts me to a cruise ship, is the spa. I want to go to that adult only area spa, and I want to relax. I want to de-stress, and I want to go into that steam room. I want to get into the hot tubs they have there. I want to relax. How about those beautiful photos that I've posted over the last year or two, showing these spas in Norwegian cruise lines, on Norwegian ships, the Jade and the Encore and the Bliss, the spas that they have, those ceramic loungers that they have, and all the other loungers there where you can just relax and have a sleep, a nap, and unwind, get ready for your, big day tonight, dinner and a show. They might shut those down. They might limit it to 50 people at a time, down from 200. They might cut it down to 30 people at a time, down from 100. I really worry about the future of this. How will cruise lines survive the shutdown of these facilities? And as I was saying to you just the other day, talking to you about the new investor that invested a lot of money into Norwegian, Al Catterton from Connecticut, they pumped $400 million cash into Norwegian to keep it alive. They own the spa facilities, and they control 90% of all spa facilities on all cruise ships, period. All 900, they run practically 380 of them or something like that, 360 of them. And so what happens if these spa facilities get cut down to only 30% occupancy from their current? I don't know how they can make money. Don't know how that's going to work. The cruise lines are going to want to charge top dollar for rent to utilize that space. The spa operator is going to say to the cruise lines, I'll tell you what, I'll pay you a percentage of the action. Of every dollar that comes in the front door on my spa, I will pay you a percentage of that, which is a partnership arrangement between you and I. And the cruise line is going to go, if you think your numbers are going to be 1/3 of what they used to be, we as a cruise line are in big trouble because our numbers are going to be plummeting. The interest payment on the build out of that ship isn't going down. The monthly payments aren't going to go down to keep paying off the ship's construction. To maintain a ship in salt water is still going to cost just as much because salt water eats away at cruise ships, no matter how many people are on the ship. So there's all kinds of issues here coming up. This is going to be something. Next point. Smaller shore excursion groups. Social distancing and everything else. You want to go to, you're going to go to, say, like my daughter and I did. We were on the Norwegian Jade. We went to Rome, went to the cruise port just north of Rome, which I can't pronounce. And we had to gather at, was it 8:00 in the morning? We had to gather in our group in the main showroom. Because we were getting on a bus, and that bus was taking us to Rome to do our tours. And there were dozens of groups being organized and met up with all over the ship, depending on what your itinerary was for your getaway. So here we were in the main showroom, and there were like 50 of us that gathered up, and then they walked us out in single file out to deck number 4. And down the gangplank after we checked out with our security things. And we were escorted to our bus. And our bus held 52 people or whatever the number was. And there was the driver and our tour guide. And then we all got on the bus. And every seat was filled capacity. The ship, that bus was loaded up. We're done. And now we're heading to Rome. And we drove for about 45 minutes, an hour, and stopped at a kind of a gas station type pit stop for a pee break and grab a couple of refreshments, whatever you want, buy a bottle of pop or get a chocolate bar or whatever you want to do. And then back on 10 minutes later, and we're all right into downtown Rome to the Colosseum parking lot area. And then from there, we walked in single file or in a group following our leader, who had a little stick with a flag on the top of it. And we had our headphones on, and away we went. Well, what happens with the social distancing and the ability to keep people further apart? If the bus line is told the maximum people on this bus has gone from 50 to 20, that's the maximum number of people allowed on a bus. Every second row, you're allowed a couple instead of every row. That's at least a 50% reduction. And then you might have staggered rows. So you're down to 20 people per bus. Are you going to run now 2 buses for a tour group of 40? We used to run 1 bus for a tour group of 50. And with the group together, we're walking together like a little herd of sheep. That might be outlawed. Again, with social distancing, the country of Italy may say no more than 20 people. Might still be the same a rule in Canada. Might be the same rule for a tour bus, a group in Mexico or anywhere else. For social distancing concerns, maximum 20 people. This is going to be a major problem for cruise lines, because to organize all those passengers into much smaller groups is going to be a challenge. Having said all that, if cruise line occupancy rates go down to 30%, 40%, and you used to have 3,000 people on a ship and 2,000 used to go on shore excursions, now you've only got 1,000 people and 400 are going on a shore excursion. I guess it'll work out from a social distancing point of view, but from a dollars and cents point of view, millions in losses for everybody. Shore operators and cruise lines with all those markups, not going to be good. Must wear masks on board ships or for embarkation and disembarkation. Must wear masks in social areas like the lobbies. Must wear masks when you go see the show tonight for, Grease or Jersey Boys or whatever the show is you're going to watch. This could be a new normal. This could be a new normal. Certain cities that you visit, certain countries you visit, they may have mask rules that the country you're starting from didn't have. So out of Miami, you didn't have to wear a mask, but when you got to so and so, you did have to wear a mask. Oh my gosh, this is something that could really be a problem. What about you must provide health certificates or pass a health check before you get on a cruise ship? And to be fair about it, the cruise lines are going to say, doesn't matter what age you are. You're 35 years old, you have to have a health certificate to get on a ship. You're 75 years old, you have to have a health certificate to get on a cruise ship. What about this? How are you going to do that? How are you going to figure out the logistics of a health pass of some kind for people that are booking a cruise 6 months from now, a year from now? You're booking a cruise a year from now, and the cruise line is telling you, we're going to send you an email with this reservation you're making. And it's a tentative reservation. We got to hold on for your cabin. We've got your deposit and everything is refundable, but we've got to hold on everything. But you've got to send back this document filled out, get it printed, and it has to be certified by a certified medical professional. How is that going to work? I have no idea. I just can't understand. In Canada, I guess I could go to my doctor if I have one. If I don't have a family doctor, I could go to a clinic maybe and get them to do it. They're going to charge whatever they think they can charge for this service. Now, one clinic might say our fee is $25. You're going to see a nurse. We're going to take your blood pressure. We're going to weigh you, and then we'll check off the boxes and be done with it. Another clinic might say, oh, no. We're going to do a full physical on you. We want a full-blown physical. We charge $250 for a physical. And if you want us to fill out this form, that's another $50, $300 per person in your party. Oh, family of four, $1,200 for mom and dad and the two kids to go on a cruise. And the cruise line says this form has to be within 90 days. It can't be a year ago. I know you booked the cruise a year and a half ago, but you've got to be cleared medically in the last 90 days. Otherwise, it's too old. How is that going to work? I just don't get it. Are the cruise lines actually going to set up clinics, quick healthcare checkup clinics right at the terminal when you get on your ship? Think about that. You've paid for yourself, your wife, your two kids. I'm thinking just a family of four. Forget about couples and singles and family. Think about family reunion cruise. Family reunion cruise, 30 of you. And you're going to go in for a health check at the terminal just before you get on the ship. And family of four, mom's okay, dad's okay, the one kid's okay, the other kid's got an issue that disqualifies the child from getting on the ship. What do you do now? You going to send the child home on his or her own? No. Does mom stay behind and let everyone else go? No. All four of you. What about the money? What about the cruise money? What about the payment for the refund? No refund applicable here. You lost it all. What do you do? What about a family? Like I said, your reunion, 30 of you, family reunion cruise, 5 of the 30 can't go on the ship. What happens now? This is so unworkable. In my opinion, it's utterly unworkable, unfeasible, undoable, and yet there might be rules in place that insist on it. I just don't know. I really, this is one of those. This is a hot issue. Let me tell you. What about a new normal? Social distancing and gathering and getting together on ships. How about no more bingo, no more trivia contests, no karaoke, no piano bar getting together, no comedy clubs. Have you been to on a Norwegian cruise where you've been to the comedy club and the comedian is standing up on stage telling jokes? Have you noticed that the bar that they do this in holds 300 people, and you're sitting on wooden chairs beside each other, just stacked beside each other. There is no social distancing, but between you, in front of you, behind you. They had a fire drill. We would trample each other to get out alive. That's over. That there's no way you're going to have a comedy club with 300 packed in like sardine uh, guests from a ship watching a comedian perform on a stage. There's no way that you're down to 50 people in that room, maybe 60. How fun is that going to be? This is, I don't get it. The piano bar with the piano player, that is a rollicking good time. And the reason it's a rollicking good time is because there's so many people so tightly packed in together, just singing away at the top of their lungs, having a great old time. Can't do that anymore with social distancing going forward. The virus might attack again. I mean, what is going to happen, folks? Is this part of the new normal? Bingo. No bingo? Are you kidding me? How that's impossible. No trivia, no trivia rooms, no those the Family Feud shows and all that. I don't know. This is something to wonder about. I'm thinking too about the big show, the great big show at night again for Grease and Jersey Boys and any of the other Broadway productions. These productions cost a fortune to put together with the staff and the technical crew in the background, all the costume designers, the makeup people, the lighting operators, the sound operators. The logistics of it are unbearable. The licensing that cruise lines are paying, the amount of money that they're paying for the rights to do these shows. You tell a cruise line that we know that your auditorium can handle 800 people at a time. You got the seats for 800 people. You're down to 300. That's the max capacity, 300, and they have to be spread out so that all those decks and those rows at the back and all the way to the front, spread out, 300 maximum per show. Each show is an hour and a half long, hour and 3/4, 2 hours. You can't add 2 more shows. I mean, you're going to exhaust the performers to death. You can't do that. So you got 2 shows a day maximum. 600 people a day max can see the show. Oh my gosh. Now, I get it. If only 1,000 people are on the ship, I suppose 300 at a time can see the show. You do 2 shows a day, that's 600 of the 1,000 can see the show. And if the show is running twice during the week, I guess, and then other shows during the week are, other kind of performances, that might work. But the cruise line has to get income from 1,000 people to replace 3,000 people of spending. I don't know how this is going to happen. The new normal. Fewer ships might be sailing as older ships are retired. It could be that the folks at Norwegian are going to look at their fleet and say, well, we've got the Norwegian such and such ship that can handle 2,000 people at full capacity. We're now limited to 30-40% capacity. That's 600 people to 800 people per cruise on this ship if we just decide to utilize it going forward. We're going to get our butts handed to us because this ship is older. It's 25 years old. It doesn't have all the modern conveniences. It has such social distancing nightmares. We can't use the ship anymore. We can use the Encore, and we can take the Encore, and we can take the Bliss and other newer ships, and they all have 85% balcony rooms. They got much more floor space on a square footage basis. We can do that. We can take the top exclusive area for Norwegian cruise ships, the Haven. We can take the Haven Club. We can go from 250 Haven members down to maybe 100 Haven members, and it'll still be really nice and exclusive, and we'll get top dollar up there. Those folks will pay a big chunk of the cruise. But downstairs, where we had 3,500, we're down to 1,000 passengers. We'll only have them in balcony rooms, and we'll space them out on the balcony rooms, and we'll distance out the rest of the ship. But I got to tell you, folks, the days of a $750 balcony room might be going by way of the dodo bird, because the cruise line is going to say it's $1,500 a person for the balcony room now. $3,000 a couple for a week in a balcony that used to run $1,500 plus. It's now $3,000 plus. The Haven used to run $3,000 a person. It's now $5,000 a person because we've got to pay the fees and the costs of a vessel that is capable of handling 4,000 plus people with only 1,200. We're going to have to make up the difference. So the old ships could be gone and they won't sail them anymore. Economically uneconomic. We're going to take those ships to areas of the world where maybe we're allowed to go with a 50% utilization, where countries are a little easier on us as opposed to the United States. I don't know where that is. Is that India? Is that the Middle East? Is that going to be cruising between Thailand and the Philippines and Indonesia only for non-U.S. nationals? Because if you're a U.S. national, you're on one of those ships, automatic quarantine when you come back to the USA. I just don't know. Same thing for Carnival. We'll talk about Carnival Elation and the Carnival Fantasy and the Ecstasy. All these ships that don't have virtually no balconies. The ships are virtually only ocean room type vessels because they're from the 90s. Remember, these are the days before standard ships were almost all built with balconies. Those ships may have sailed their last sailing. They may not be. They might not be utilized anymore because they handle 1,600 passengers normally. Now they can only handle 400, 500. These are all inside rooms. I don't know how this is going to fly. There could well be a third of all the cruise ships out there retired instantly by the cruise lines going forward. They don't know about it yet. It's about to hit them. They might know internally, and they haven't told us publicly. And they're telling us now, as we are noticing, some of these cruise lines are saying to us, well, we're thinking of bringing back 5 ships at a time, for example. That's what the Norwegian is talking about. Carnival is talking about starting cruising in August with 8 ships, not all 29 or whatever there are in their fleet. It could well be that a third of the ships are going to be permanently moored up and not going to be utilized anymore. And they're down to only 2/3 of their fleets. And then they're down to half to 30% utilization of those ships to be going. This is a realization where the cruise lines are going, oh my goodness, you know what? These furloughs we're doing at head office and the layoffs we're doing over here in Seattle for Holland America, Santa Clarita for Princess and other lines, we may find that we only need a third of our staff back. We only need, we had 5,000 employees at one time. We now only need 1,500, 1,700 staff because we just don't have as many ships anymore. We don't have as many crew anymore. We don't have as many itineraries anymore. We just don't, we're a much smaller company now. And as a smaller company, yeah, it's cheaper to run the company, true. On board the ships, though, running a ship is still going to cost a ton of money. And these ships have to generate more money per person than before to break even, to even make a profit. How is this going to go down? The new normal, folks. That I covered that expensive side of it. I covered the smaller, fewer ships. I will mention the last area when it comes to being more expensive to cruise. What about being more expensive for dock fees, port fees, customs, and security fees? Up until January, when everything was normal, the cruise line was expecting 30 million passengers in 2020 were going to take a cruise. 30 million. There were 27 million in 2019, 30 million expected in 2020, 32 to 33 million expected in 2021, and up to 35 million expected in 2022 going forward. What if in 2022 we're limited to 12 million passengers total worldwide, not out of the States. I'm talking worldwide cruising. USA cruising will go from 13, 15 million to 4 or 5 million maximum allowable on ships. Everything is going to cost more. Homeland Security, they have to spend so many dollars with so many personnel to inspect cruise ships coming into port. Coast Guard, they are escorting the ship in, they're escorting the ship out. There will be no reduction in staff for that, no matter how many people on the ship. Airports running at lower capacity with just as much in the way of fees and costs. Insurance costs are going to go through the roof for everything that's operating with people on board. Marketing fees are marketing fees. You got to advertise the product. You got to get them out. We're talking about a much higher cost per passenger going forward, which turns cruising, which turns the art of taking a flight, which turns almost everything into a much higher cost per person, which brings it up to a higher demographic of person, which means that the days of cheap cruises, cheap flights, cheap hotel stays, they could be gone for quite some time, if not permanently gone, erased from existence. And all of a sudden, the Southwest people, they're going to brag about a cheap airfare, $149 instead of $49. Used to be $49 for a cheap airfare. Now it's $149 for a cheap airfare, because on an airplane, you don't have 150 people anymore. That same plane now holds maximum 190 maybe. And the cost is just gone up on a per person basis. Those of us who can afford it will note, oh, it sure is a lot roomier in this plane than it used to be. I kind of like that, but I don't like having to pay much, much more. But you know what? I am getting more for my money, or I'm getting less for my money. Fewer people, more me. On cruise ships, that atmosphere of that goodbye party on that pool deck, or remember the cannonball contests we used to see? You're not going to see that anymore. You're not going to have 2,000 people packed in on the top deck of a cruise ship. What about Bon Jovi and Kiss? All these musical artists who are doing these private charter cruise getaway deals. Erased from existence. If you've been using the Norwegian Jade for a concert, a 1-week concert charter, a 5-day deal with 15 musical acts, and you've set up a stage on the pool deck, and the plan and the game plan had always been that there would be 1,500 people all ringing around the handrails and hanging out down on the pool deck in chairs or loungers watching those musical acts crammed in there. It's over, baby. It's all over. In the main room, the showroom that could hold 800 people, now only with 300. We may have a musical cruise booked for a week that used to run with 3,000 passengers, now runs with 1,000. And it used to cost $1,500 a person, because it used to always be a premium anyway. $1,500 a person, now $4,000 a person. How many fewer are going to be able to afford this? This is the possible new normal I'm talking about. I've listed 11 kind of main topics, but gone into offshoots here. Let me kind of recap them one more time real quick. Goodbye to the buffet. Lower occupancy loads on cruise ships. Fewer stops, more sea days possibility. Social distancing everywhere. Casinos included. Bye-bye to the steam room. Goodbye to the dry sauna. Goodbye to the hot tubs, perhaps. Smaller shore excursion groups. When you go out on a shore excursion, must wear masks on board the ship, on embarkation, disembarkation, going to the show, maybe walking along the hallways inside. I don't know. Must wear mask. Must provide a health certificate or pass a health inspection before getting on the ship. Providing documentation from a doctor. I have no idea how that would fly. No more bingo, trivia contests, or karaoke. Piano bars, the comedy clubs, all shut down or all dramatically restricted in participation numbers. Fewer ships to sail. going forward because older ships are going to be retired instantly. They just aren't economic under a certain percentage of occupancy anymore, and more expensive to cruise for all passengers because of port enhanced fees, higher customs charges, security charges, health screening costs are now built in. On and on it goes. Those are just 11 points that I've just brought up and have speculated on. What do you guys think about this? Is any of this doable, feasible? How are we going to have this happen? I have so many of you here. I can't possibly read all of your comments. You've just been so good to me with the commentary. It's just endless. But let me go to the newest comments and just kind of catch up with you here up to what's been going on lately, and just get your thoughts here. This is going to be crazy, possibly undoable, unmanageable, not feasible. Is that a possible thing? We'll have to see what's going on. People are questioning what's going to go on. Las Vegas, what's going to happen in Vegas? I just don't know. Here's a comment from the Lutre. I want a trip to both Las Vegas and a cruise on the Mardi Gras in January. Both are up in the air. Yeah, they sure are. This is it. MG Toa is saying the older ship layout is much better than the newer ship layout. Could be true. The older ships were built for guest in mind, not the corporation in mind. Yep. Darren is saying this is sad. Tom Henry, what makes a good layout? MG wants to know. Anthony, maybe the bigger ships have more to offer, but do I need all of this at my age? That's a good question. Tom is saying, I have enjoyed every ship we've cruised. Andrew Cabate, how did you win a trip to Vegas? Tell me that. Tom Henry, I study the deck plans intensely before the cruise, so usually know where everything is located. I do that too. I do that so much. Scott Weber, cruise lines cannot survive at 30% capacity. Letty Font, we will eventually find a vaccine and this virus will be history. But what about the new social distancing requirements? Will we be allowed to go back the way it was? MG, the new ships don't even have an outside promenade to walk around the ship, nor do they have an aft with a pool and bar to enjoy the wake. It's all wall-to-wall cabins. Kathy Matron, I would love a cruise on an older ship to a private island overnight. The cruise lines need to up their game on their private islands and get away from some of the temporarily unfriendly ports. There's that. The Mogul, Maine is so beautiful, it brings tears to my eyes. Anthony, if higher prices come on cruise ships, then I guess I will have to find another way to vacation. Letty Font, vaccine people, that's what it's all about. IMG Tow, even the Lido decks are filled with venues and less deck space to enjoy the outside. Ray Gutierrez, well, Bruce, my opinion is if they don't have the money, then don't cruise. You make it sound like too much of everything. You pay for what you get, don't have the dollars, do something else. These are all very good points. Additional comments. Hang on here. I think I just skipped over a few. Let me just double check here. My gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, what happened here? It's going to be a different experience, that's for sure. I've gone back as far as I can, and I may have lost a bunch of you. I'm not sure. Emily Archer saying there were 329 watching at one point today. Isn't that something? 114 thumbs ups. Thank you, everybody, for those. Love your thumbs ups. I appreciate them very much. Ray was saying also, so you actually think that the Caribbean islands will not welcome back the cruise lines? Folks, this is only temporary until they get back to 100%. Shame on you. Well, we'll see, my friend, going forward. I don't know. These islands have been real shook up with this thing. Taurus Family Adventures, this is all temporary. Everyone is tripping like it's permanent. Diseases have always existed. Once herd immunity or a vaccine is done, things will get better. It will take time. I hope for the best. I really do. I fear the worst. I hope for the best. William, wife and I already totally avoid hot tubs. A matter of sanitation. Evie Higgs, they have to really invest in HEPA filters for all spaces and clean them daily. Ruthie, definitely going to be a different experience. Scott Weber, William, that's why the water is so chlorinated. Tex, the steam room temperature will kill the virus. They should make it mandatory. They'll need to design more specialty spaces, maybe a restaurant or two on each deck. Alexander stopped using hot tubs on cruise ships years ago. MG, if you can't enjoy yourself on a cruise, then don't cruise. Tom Henry, I like the idea of a pill vaccine mentioned in one article. Eddie is saying to me, 320 people are here right now. I still 315 right now. This is awesome, guys. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. Please consider giving me a thumbs up today. Helps my analytics for my channel. Brian, how do you tender a shipload in one day? How do you do that? Well, I have seen, for example, at Cayman Islands, you'll have a ship with 4,000 passengers on there, and they used to about 150 per ship. 150. So you'd have tenders coming from the shore and the ship's own tenders being utilized on a rotational basis all day long. So starting at 8 in the morning, you're doing 2 tenders at a time. You got one at the back of the ship, one towards the front, and you're doing 300 loading up 300 passengers in say 10 minutes, and then every 15 minutes another 300 are coming off the ship. So you can get them off once you get it going. If the seas are calm enough, I suppose. Let's see here. Tom Henry, the pills begin testing in July. Let's hope for good results. Eddie is saying you got 118 thumbs ups. MG, I won't go to Italy. It's not safe at all. Torres family, case is still dropping here in Florida. I think the sun and humidity will help. The data the next few weeks should be telling. I think hot open spaces will be fine. The virus dies. We always hope for the best, but it's exploding in Mexico. It's exploding in Brazil. And the Philippines have issues. The Indonesians have issues. I don't know, folks. I don't know if heat and humidity will do it. I hope so, but I don't know. William, true. In a matter of preference, not sure of what is eliminated to those tubs. No shade to those who enjoy them. Kids, Miranda, what number is he on? Emily, Tom Henry, pill vaccine. Did I miss something? William, laughing out loud. I'm lost as well. Ray, if you feel like that, then don't cruise at all. Go back to Disney and Six Flags. Every time a new virus comes out, it's going to change my way of traveling. Not just be cautious and vacation on. Just vacation on. It'll be interesting to see how it works at Disneyland and Six Flags, Universal. They might be down to 30%. I know they're at 30% top occupancy in Shanghai. I don't know if they're making money in Shanghai. Disney. This is Disney World I'm talking about. Tom Henry. Emily was on one of the YouTube news vids. Kids, that this means more money for shore excursions than Tom Henry, or maybe something Viv from UK posted. Kids Miranda, more tour guides, more money. Emily, thank you, Tom Henry. Thank you, Tom Henry. Sylvan, let them come up with a vaccine in the first place, Tom. A pill, lotion, shot, suppository. Just don't care. I just want to be able to cruise again. I hear you there, buddy. I'm with you, Sylvan. I want to cruise too. Agree, Sylvan, from Kids Miranda. Emily, Sylvan, I agree too. We need a vaccine first. Tixamini pill vaccine is called hydrochloroquine with a Z-Pack. Tom Henry, the article said pills could be manufactured in large volume quicker than injections. Emily, that hydro pill, terrible. Who is this? This is Frank Young. Hi, Frank. We're averaging 60 plus days a year on cruises every year since I retired. But we will do more self-drive and small group tours for a while. There is no pill vaccine yet. It's a treatment with mixed results. Right on, Frank Young. Thank you for that comment. Good points there. William, I agree with most people. Get ready to shell out more money for a cruise. Yeah, I think it's gonna happen too. Kids, for how long? Joe, Capobianco, Joe's here. Okay, I'll be that guy. What's the incentive to cruise if you can't enjoy cruising? Think paying thousands of dollars to be told what to do and what you can't do while you're on vacation. Sorry, I'm not into this. Joe, I agree. I really wonder about it. Are the ships going to become something like the whole ship is going to become the Haven? Is that going to be the deal now? Will Norwegian have like Haven premium class and Haven everybody else class, because there's only 1,200 of you on a ship that used to hold 4,000, and now you'll all be pampered with included everything. Drinks are included, specialty dining's included, no extra charges for most services except for maybe massages if they offer them anymore. But they'll service you to death, but they're going to say it's 1,000, 1,500 a person for a balcony now, 3,000 a couple mandatory. But you get way more than you used to because there's only 1,200 of you. It's 5,000 a person up in the top at the Haven, but it's 1,500 for you down here, but you get more. Will that fly? I don't know. Will the casino be triple the size now in space and have just as many machines, or will there be more machines? Will they only go after casino players? I don't know. Lee Sands, Alexander, I'm not taking any pills, vaccines for 5 years. This is happening way too fast. Kids, Miranda, I heard about this health checks. There goes most of us Americans laugh out loud. We're not going to pass. Tixie masks don't work. N95 is no good to 35 microns. Virus is half as big. Will pass right through it. Oh my gosh. The technicals. Torres Family Adventures, the Riley Riley channel here on YouTube gives a good idea of what the immediate start of cruising may look like. He is a crew member. You can see what they have in place right now. Joe, there will be no health certificates. That will not happen. And by now, we all know why. Scott Weber, the mask is not going to keep you from getting it, but to keep it from infecting others, I hope for the best. By the way, cheers, everybody, from TWB. Trying to stay on top of these comments. Maybe temperature stations out the ship in private areas for older people like me. Torres Family Adventures, the crew members will have to wear masks in common areas. Janine, doctors don't want the liability. And this is, how far back am I? Oh, I'm way back on my comments here. Emily, here in New York, we have to wear a mask in public, and where social distancing cannot be done. It's the law now. Let's go. Let me get closer in. Mickey Mouse is here. Mickey Mouse freedom of travel protection should cover the family that is turned away. Mark Andrew, no offense, but the new normal when it comes to cruising sounds pretty crummy. I hear you there. Ray Gutierrez, I'll be that person right now. You can get sick on a plane, at the airport, train station, in the park, even the supermarket. So stop or don't cruise. I cruise in 4 or 5. And the virus in the last 7 years. Ray, I hear you there. This can be caught anywhere, by anybody at any time. Scott Weber, okay, Bruce. Okay, Bruce. No bars, no entertainment. Then why go on a cruise? There you go. I hear you. Chuck Spencer. The point is that the spread area is smaller when you wear a mask, not that will completely block it. Okay. Janine, you can't socially distance on a pre-cruise safety drill either. I agree with that. Torres Family Vacation. I get these comments all the time. Bruce, you're talking way too negative. You're just way too negative and definitive with this, in my opinion. I hear you. I understand what you're saying. I'm just repeating what is being broadcast out there. I'm reading it and seeing it from all kinds of areas. And I'm just supposing, I'm just wondering, what do you think, folks? What do you think about this? Debbie Manuel is here. Hi, Debbie Manuel. Thank you. Ray, Bruce, worried he might lose his hair. Then he got left because of the virus. That's right. I could lose the rest of it. Oh no. I have news for you. I'm going to lose the rest of it. It just continues. It's a one-way ticket to Baldnessville. That's where we're headed. What can I say? Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Sylvan is saying this sounds like the result of a brainstorming session where every participant shouts out an idea, no matter how crazy. And then we all have coffee and donuts, discuss what's written on board. That's right. Let's discuss what's been written on the board. Michael and Diane, Bruce, we cruise with Regent, 750 passengers, or Oceania, 1,150 passengers. Do you see these measures apply here as well? I can see the capacity numbers being reduced, but I can kind of suspect that the Regent, they might go from 750 to 500. I can see Oceania going from 1150 to 750, something like that, because they're already reduced. There's like a lot of space on these ships as it is. But I can see, a third, quarter to a third, 40% cutback. Viking Ocean cruising, 945 passengers now. I can see 650 is the number. I just don't know. There's just so much to think about here. It's just unbelievable. John Riley, after our first couple of cruises, my wife and I quit going to the theater. There you go. And Tixamini, the cruise ship will need to be redesigned. More places to do everything. More cruise lines will need to have their own islands that are spread out and can accommodate more people. Interesting point. Two things are going to happen, says Joe. They will regulate themselves to extinction, or as soon as they hit international waters, the rules and enforcement get relaxed. It's a wild guess, obviously, but you could be right unless there are CDC inspectors on board the ship, mandatory to maintain it. I don't know. Anthony, I agree that the older ships are nicer because less people means chance of getting to know more people. There you have it. Let me see if I can catch up here. These comments, I've got so many of you here, and I really appreciate them. I wanted to catch up. Okay, I'm just going through the comments I read already, so bear with me, folks, as I try to catch up here. Oh my God. Let's see here. Okay, now I've skipped through every comment to get right up the current. Scott Weber, thank you for your donation to my channel. Again, I want to mention that in Iceland, says they will be opening to tourists this summer starting June 15th. We can hopefully it'll be fairly well maintained and regulated. We'll see how it kind of goes. Sally Paulson, cruise on smaller ships, Oceania Crystal, for less chance of the disease. Joe, hey, sorry if I sounded so negative, but I hate seeing what's happening to our favorite way of vacationing. Try to be realistic. I hear you there. Eric, we never use the buffet anyways, just the dining hall. Let's go here. Kids, laugh out loud, old comments. Lassans, Alexander, swimming pools, does the chlorine kill the virus? I thought it did. I think it's a pretty good neutralizer. Gavin, it doesn't matter if the ship is large or small. Number of guests in a small space is the issue. 60% capacity is needed to start with. There you go. Very good comment. Very interesting comment. Kids, so how do we think cruise lines will get us back on? I was looking at Carnival yesterday, and those prices were still pretty high. Yeah, I agree. JC is saying, hello, Bruce. There's an HIV treatment apparently that is being tested that can block the virus. Anthony Fauci was talking about it last week. Matt is saying hi to everybody. Hi, Matt. How you doing, buddy? George Castro, I sure hope cruising resumes in 2021 because I'm getting some incredible deals on 3 cruises that I just booked. Kids, all cruises may be like those small cruise lines, river cruises, less people, premium dining, exclusive entertainment, but just more expensive. Chuck Spencer Lessons, yes, chlorine bleach kills this and most of all viruses. Debbie Emanuel, thanks for today's surprise show, Bruce. Enjoying while I wash my products from Costco run. $2.19 for regular gas over here in Chico, California. Would rather not be Donner during the news, though. Thank you, Debbie, and welcome to the show today. Tom says hi, of course. Eric Z, I'm not cruising just for the sake of cruising. Kids, George, that's great. I did see the new Carnival ship was super cheap this November. Kids, not negative, but new normal and real, perhaps. MG Toe, when people are dropping dead on these cruise ships, then you should be negative. Ray and Sue's Travel Channel. I think we all need to relax and accept some changes short term. In the end, when the virus is contained and vaccinated, then cruising will return to normal. If not, then hotels and events won't happen. And that's the thing. Susan Starry, I cruise in March next year since I had to cancel for today's cruise on Horizon out of Miami. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it'll happen. Lissans Alexander, Chuck Spencer, is this really proven or precaution? People urinating, wiping spit or nose stuff coming out of the pool. I know. I hate thinking about that. Larry Lewis, Bruce, ignore the doubters and the naysayers. You have not been off base so far. We cannot cruise now, and you called that one right. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Larry. I do what I can. I try. Susan, now I cruise on the breeze in March out of Fort Lauderdale. Right on, Susan. Let's hope this happens. Brian, there goes my chances at winning a belly flop competition. Yep, out the window, right like that. Arthur, I think CLIA will negotiate something less drastic. We'll see. Kathy, Matron, we got back from a cruise in March, and we already have the itch for another vacation. The problem is nothing local appeals to us. We all enjoy inclusive, but there's nothing. Can't wait to cruise. Right on. I hear you. Kat D, my travel agent won't cancel my October trip out of Rome. I went ahead and canceled all excursions and dinner reservations. She says, wait and see. October, Rome. Yeah, I'm not very optimistic. I don't know how you're going to get there. I don't know what airline's going to get you there and back. I really don't know what that travel agent is talking about. Mary Beth O'Hara, what's going on with the Allure of the Seas? We're scheduled for May 30, 2021. Last I heard on the Allure was It was supposed to have gone into Cadiz, Spain back in March for a major $165 million dry dock upgrade to bring the ship up to the Oasis of the Seas, Symphony of the Seas, Harmony of the Seas, that kind of level of improvement. But that got canceled because of the outbreak of the virus. So the ship hung out in Southampton, didn't do any cruising, obviously, still not cruising. Now the ship is back and apparently is now in Cadiz, I'm told, should be now in Cadiz, Spain. It is in for a 30-day quick dry dock. And apparently the main thing they're working on, the majority of the reasoning, is the propulsion system, one of the azipods. They're replacing it or repairing something, bearing issues, all kinds of stuff. This is not uncommon on the Oasis class ships. So propulsion system upgrade and navigation systems work in the bridge are being done. I don't believe any other major work is being done. There might be maybe very minor cosmetics being done, but nothing near the 165 million that was planned. That was supposed to be a 60-something day deal. This is 30 days in and out. And I believe there are fewer workers on the ship now than that would normally be on for a 30-day dry dock. I think that's also happening here. Other comments. Let me see if I can catch up. Here we go. Keep losing them. Lasans, thanks, Bruce. Your insight gives people things to think about in regards to the new normal. Thank you. There's lots to think about, isn't there? Unbelievable. Sylvan, chlorine kills the virus. It's the main ingredient in bleach. Evie, Lure is getting new propulsion and repair right now in Cadiz. There we go. Debbie, hi, Thomas. Hoping you're enjoying your weekend. Ivy, no fancy upgrades. That's right. Donna, Kathy, this is exactly why we handle our own vacation arrangements. I'm in charge and won't listen to someone who will lose money. If I cancel, so they say not to cancel. There you go. Okay, Pamela. Hi there, Bruce. Just watching and listening. Welcome, Pamela Anderson. The steamer is here. Steaming Bean. I want $1 for each time Bruce says, I hear you there. I want $1 for every time I hear you there. How about that? Marty, I escorted over 850 cruise shore excursions. My job was to evaluate all the tours. I did this for every major cruise line. Man, oh man, that is some work. I'll tell you, that's unreal. Patrick O'Neill, I hate the fact that we can't cruise right now. We were supposed to leave out tomorrow from Miami in September, from Seattle for Alaska. Both were canceled. We're up in age and enjoy cruising. I'm with you there, Patrick. I wish I were on a cruise myself. We've got a group cruise booked for this December on the Harmony of the Seas. I don't know if it's going to happen. Got a cruise booked February 2021, Odyssey of the Seas. I don't know if it's going to happen. I got to wait and see what happens here, and then what will it be like. Donna is saying, this is our generation version of polio. We have two relatives who were infected right before the vaccine, still have lifelong complications. Kids, Miranda, anyone think the new Disney ships won't happen? Still being built. As far as the money goes, I don't think Disney has a money problem to build out the vessels. They certainly can afford. They can afford the price. It's the cruise, the shipbuilders, as far as their scheduling and their workloads and social distancing. But if Disney gets a ship a year later than previously scheduled, so be it. They've got 4 now, 3 on order. So maybe they're each delayed a year. I don't know, but they can certainly afford to pay for it. They're, got deep enough pockets, just a question of whether they need them. Mary Beth, thanks, Evie. Heard the renovation was canceled. Patrick O'Neill, what about the casino? What are they going to change there? I've talked about that. Chammy Bammy, you think Oasis of the Seas is going out of Cape Liberty? I don't know. I tell me when they're booked. I don't know if there'll be any cruises for 2020 at all out of Port Cape Liberty. Will there be any cruises in 2021 going forward with the restarting of cruises? I really don't know. Like Norwegian said the other day, they're thinking that when they do restart cruising, they think they're going to start with 5 ships, and then every month or two, they'll add 5 more ships. So Norwegian is going to take 6-7 months to get back up and running again. The same might be true for Royal Caribbean. They may start with one Oasis class ship a month for 4 months in a row to get them back online. And then the same thing with their other class of ships. It could take 6-8 months to get the cruise line up and going. And even then, they're going to measure every month that they are sailing what their cash flow numbers are like. If they're allowed 40% capacity, 30%, 50%, whatever the number is, and they still notice that even at their new top capacity limits, they're losing 5 million a cruise. You think they're going to go right up to maximum capacity? Why would they do that? They'll keep the limit way down and try to enhance onboard spending, but they can only go so long before they got to throw in the towel and just give up on it. I mean, if the numbers aren't there, the numbers aren't there. We don't know this. We'll see what happens. Ray and Sue's Travel Channel. Let's hope Allure stays till November, Bruce. Let's see. Evie is saying we have a cruise out of put out Cruise Liberty on the Oasis. We doubt it for October. Jeannie, we need a rapid test on embarkation day in the in before the vaccine, right there. I tell you, in the interim, right? What a place! Jennifer Aniston and Pamela Aniston all here. I tell you, the babes are here today. Evie is laughing out loud. Kids, Miranda, hi, Pam and Jen. Sylvan, you want $1? You want $1? I have a feeling lots of people want $1. I hear you there. Let's see what other comments coming. Here we go. JC, Google Sorrento Therapeutics sounds like a huge breakthrough. This might be the one to fix it all. Boy, there are a lot of rumors, but there's no reality, isn't there? The sky's falling. The sky's falling, says Evie. Ray and Sue going through cruising cold turkey. When Bruce is finished, check out our channel for your cruise fix. They're promoting on my channel. How about that? Tom Henry is smiling. Emily, 173 thumbs up, Bruce. Way to go. Pamela, no. Hi, kids, Miranda. Mary Beth O'Hara, thanks, Bruce. Thank you, Mary. Kevin J, my next cruise is January. Lots of time to watch things play out. Tom Henry, what are the other 128 viewers doing? I don't know. We have 310 here right now. Kids, mine too. Donna, Ray and Suze, I just subscribed. Looking forward to go there after Bruce is done. Tarek, Bruce, we just booked Hawaiian cruise for March 2021. What do you think will happen? Well, I hope it happens, but no guarantees. There are just no guarantees. I hope so, but I still have this gut feeling that we won't be back to normal till 2022. That's just me. Maddie Ryan, thumbs up, Bruce. I missed some of the video. Can you say the list of the 11 changes again? Here are the 11 changes that could happen. Here we go. Goodbye buffets, lower occupancy loads for cruise ships, fewer stops, more sea days on voyages, social distancing everywhere. The casinos are going to be under unbelievable changes. Goodbye to the steam room. Goodbye to the dry sauna. Goodbye hot tubs. Could that happen? Smaller shore excursion groups for social distancing reasons must wear masks. Is that going to happen on embarkation day, debarkation day, and in heavily used public areas? That might be a mandatory. Maybe the staff, the ship's employees have to wear gloves and masks all the time. I don't know. Must people provide health certificates or pass a health check before they get on the ship at the beginning of the cruise? No more bingo, trivia contests, karaoke, piano bars, comedy clubs. Because of the social distancing problems, they might discontinue these or severely limit the number of people who are going to enjoy these facilities and these activities. What about fewer ships sailing going forward? Will cruise lines retire smaller, older ships and only sail with the more fuel efficient, larger, more space on board ships after they redesign them? Is that going to be a new normal? And will it be more expensive to cruise because you might have 30% occupancy levels? A ship that used to have 4,000 people can only have 1,200, and an outfit like Norwegian might decide, you know what, we're going to have 150 in the haven instead of 250, and then we're going to have 1,000 down below instead of 3,000 down below. We'll have a maximum of 1,200 passengers instead of 4,000 passengers, and we're going to up the price, but give you more for your money, but we're going to up the price by doubling or more the cost of going on a cruise. Will this fly? I don't know. Those are some of the 11 right there. Dorothy, I'm going to get my bathing suit for next year. Brian is saying, imagine the lines. to get a drink on the Lido deck. Running track will be turned into a social distancing lanes. Well, there might be more bars opened up all over the place, but with fewer people on board, what's the difference? There'll be fewer people in line anyway. Stephanie, any news on Princess? I had to rebook our September cruise to May 2021. My heart goes out to the Alaskan tourist and shop businesses. Thanks, Bruce. Yes, the Alaska season is gone. British Columbia is saying to anyone who wants to listen, this province, we have Vancouver and Victoria, there will be no cruise ships in British Columbia all summer. Not a chance. So we're about to hear the Canadian government update probably this coming week for all of Canada, and I'm sure that there won't be any cruises into Canada for the rest of this year. I just don't see it happening. I really don't. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I want this to go away. I want to go back to normal so bad, but I don't think we're going back to normal. MG Toe, Bruce, again, these ships can fill every cabin. They will. Kids, thank you for your entertainment, Bruce. First time here. Thank you, kids, for being here today. Jill Nilsson, hey, yay, more sea days. Eileen, 300 watching at the moment. 290 right now. Slowly losing them. Sylvan, don't be a lurker. Hit the thumbs ups. Thank you, guys. Please give me a thumbs up today. Tell YouTube that you love me, that you enjoy the show, you love the engagement. Please hit the thumbs up button. I'd love it. Emily, that was nice of you to repeat the 11 changes. Emily, you are the best. Thank you so much. Kids, maybe some undercover cruise liners watching tips. I think some of them watch me, but they don't tell me that. Thumbs ups, everybody. MG Toe. Stephanie Foley, thank you so much, Stephanie, for the super chat today. I really appreciate all donations is so much. Yes, the channel is much quieter these days as far as how many folks are watching me. The ad rates are much lower because there's less advertising going on. And so, yes, these are greatly appreciated. Thank you. Jennifer says thank you too. Mila, I still hope to go Haul America to Hawaii in November. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Dorothy Phillips, I only went on one cruise. I want to go again. Right on. Yes, once you go, you got to go again. Cruising changes and will become a luxury vacation. Susan Starry, will they be allowing while you're onboarding for future cruise bookings on ships? What will they be allowing while you're boarding? Susan, are you asking me if you can book a future cruise when you're actually on a cruise going forward? I think they'll still have that. I'm sure they'll still have their sales rooms on board their ships to get you the book. If that's what you're asking me, yes, I hope that's what you're asking me. Stephanie, I love sea days. Dorothy, thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Dorothy. Eric Z, Bruce, what happened to the people who used to live on cruise ships? I wonder what the plan is for them. Well, there's that ship known as it's called the World. The ship. That ship was last I saw in Perth, Australia, and they came in with their permanent residents, and then everything broke, the worldwide pandemic. So what they did was they announced to their permanent guests that the ship was going to shut down and that everyone had to get off the ship. And I think everybody had like a week or two notice that this was going to happen when they got to Perth, Australia. They knew going in. And so these folks that own these onboard condos, let's say, they're rather well off, and they do have homes on land, let's say. And I think what they did is when they got to Perth, that they had already arranged flights out to get home because they were still allowed to fly at that time. And these folks returned to wherever they were from, and they're now hanging out in their home cities, countries, what have you. And they're waiting for the time when the ship will reboard passengers. But right now you can't fly in and out of Australia. You can't fly in and out of Hong Kong. You can't fly in and out of Shanghai. You can't get to Dubai. I mean, everything's shut down. So the ship is idling. It's got a skeletal staff on board. They're maintaining the ship. Security is in place. Everything's fine. But the ship is not operating like it would normally operate. Evie, they'll have to have a larger and more educated medical staff. There's another comment. Yeah, that's a good one. That's number 12. Changes. Yeah, I agree. Tom Boros. Tom, super sticker. Thank you for your super sticker contribution to my channel. I love you for that. Thank you. Yes, I do, everybody. Thank you guys so much for your support. MG, I missed the cruising days from 30 years ago. It was a lot more fun than today. Boy, I miss I miss just being on a cruise. Period. But I do remember being on an ocean liner crossing the Atlantic in 1962, coming back from Germany back to Canada. Oh, I remember those memories are seared in there. I was 6 years old, 7 years old. I remember stuff. Certain smells bring back memories too. Ray and Sue's travel. Bruce, thanks for taking the last comment in good spirit. We, of course, will shout out your channel on our next video. Take care, buddy. Ray, thank you, Ray and Sue. Continued success on your channel. Margaret, waiting for Norfolk cruise next year. I'm already booked. Tim Bowman, the world condos start at $1 million each. Yeah, they have a second home. Tim Bowman, Hall America has several people that lived on the ships. One I know of headed back to a land home. And Susan Starry, yes. I remember when I was 6 years old, our family went from Hamburg, Germany, back to Canada. My father was in the Canadian Army at the time, and Canada, being part of NATO, had bases in Germany, military bases. And my father was stationed in Germany, was supposed to be for 2 years, ended up being 3 years. And we had come from Canada to Germany as a family and stayed there for the 3 years. And at the end of the third year, it was time to go back. And I remember the voyage back, certain things about it, and that we had bunk beds to sleep on for my sister and I think my mom and dad too, unfortunately for my mom and dad. But I do kind of recall, I can't put my thumbnail on it, but during the daytime on these voyages, there were a lot of activities for families to do and kids to do. And there were activities for children where children would be like, we would be in a group of a whole bunch of kids being looked after by the crew members for kids activities. And we would be away from our parents for a couple of hours during the daytime. And something tells me that, during that opportune moment in time, in the afternoon sometime, it could have been that mom and dad got together and found a way to somehow entertain themselves in their cabin, even though there were bunk beds in the room. They're pretty crafty. Of course, I keep forgetting, of course, and as children, you don't realize this. And then when you grow up, you have to kind of give yourself a little bonk on the noggin. You do the math and you go, well, in 1962, my father was 29 years old. No. My mother was 29 years old. Pardon me. My mother was 29 and my father was 31, 32. Being adults of that age, there were times where it was kind of nice for mom and dad to be alone together without those pesky kids. And so my sister and I would be occupied with all the other kids on board. And I suspect that a bunch of the Army husbands and wives that were on this ship heading back to Canada were practicing, the art of, getting together. Trying to keep this a PG show, folks. It's not easy, but I do remember dinner time on board the ocean liner. I remember we had a seating time every night, whether it was 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever, and we had the same table every evening in the main dining room. We had the same waiter, and we had the same bus boy or person, and the captain of the room was always the same gentleman. They were always in there, with ties and bow ties or ties and jackets. And I remember for lunch and dinner, I definitely remember for supper every night, the first thing that would arrive on the table, the waiter knew what drinks my mom and dad usually preferred, would always get the nod as to, yeah, we want the same thing. And we, the kids, would be brought some kind of a beverage, but then they would bring out the bowl, It was like a silver kind of a bowl that had the buns in it, freshly baked buns for dinner with the butter on a silver plate with a dish with ice cubes in it, little tiny ice cubes, and then shavings of butter in between the ice cubes. And my mom and dad, they knew I loved to have a bun at dinner time, where my mother would get a bun and cut it in half for me. And she'd butter it for me, and I would have a half a bun, and my sister would get a half a bun. And to eat this bun, to break the bun with your teeth for the first bite, even today, when I have a dinner bun at a restaurant or buy some at the grocery store, bring them home, and I have my first taste of a dinner bun, it just takes me back to when I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, coming back to Canada from Germany as a 6-7-year-old on this ship, because the smell of a fresh baked dinner roll is just a trigger that I will never forget. And I'm 64 now, and this was when I was 6, so this is a 58-year-old memory. Those kinds of memories, they never leave you when you do that. I'd love to know yours. You have anything like that from a ship? 200 thumbs up, says Brian. This is awesome, everybody. Thank you so much for these thumbs ups. Marty, we only had 115 passengers getting shipped back in late April. We were all spread all over the dining room and the showroom. This will continue even to a greater extent in the future. There you go. Marty, that's a really interesting comment. Kids, Miranda, so bottom line, should I start dropping deposits? Laugh out loud or wait it out thinking sales may be ahead? What do you think? Well, if you've got deposits, keep the deposits on, and see if the cruise gets canceled. Your deposit might turn into a higher credit. If you don't need the cash right now. Otherwise, if you want the money, you need the money, grab it. Learning lessons. Will the Mardi Gras be ready for July 21? I hope so. The ship has been under construction. It's getting close to being completed. But it's a question of when will it be released to the cruise line, and when will it be sailing with paying passengers? That's the question. July 21, I don't know. Dorothy, is it still a good time to get stocks? Which ones are good ones to invest? If you're a long-term potential holder of stock, I'm thinking minimum 5 years and longer, then you want to invest in them. Make your move. The cruise lines have enough cash to last the next 2 years or so. They've all raised various amounts of capital. But if you are going on a cruise next year, if it happens, and you have 100 shares or more of whatever cruise line you're going on. So in case of Carnival, they've got 9 different lines. So if you own 100 shares of Carnival, you can get a cruise credit on a Holland America cruise, a Princess cruise, Cunard, Carnival, whatever. You might take advantage of these, say $100 cruise credit, cabin credit for a 7-day cruise. You go on 3 or 4 cruises over the next couple of years, there's $300-400 in credits that have been given to you just to be a shareholder. To buy 100 shares of Carnival, as of Friday's close, Carnival was trading at $1,278, so $1,270 approximately. Gets you 100 shares of Carnival. If you can take 12 cruises over 5 years, you'll get $1,200 in cruise credits if you take a 7-day cruise each time. Of course, if you take a longer cruise, you take a 15-day cruise, you get a $250 credit. Now, if you can afford, say, 5 15-day cruises in the next 5 years, that's $1,250 in credits, which is equal to practically what you paid for the 100 shares in the first place. Whatever they're trading for, they're trading for. If they're higher, they're higher. If they're lower, they're lower. If they're, they're not around, they're not around, but hopefully they'll be around and they'll be higher in 5 years. Hopefully things will be a lot more calm and more back to normal, and the company will be making money, and maybe the shares are trading at, let's say they're trading at $40 a share in 5 years. You've had 5 cruises for $250 a cruise credits. There's your $1,250 back. The shares are $40 each. They're worth $4,000. You paid $1,200 something for them. You're up $2,800 plus the cruise credits. There you go. So yeah, if you can hold them long term, maybe you'll be just fine. Ray and Sue's Bruce, too much information. Jack, hello from Maryland. How you doing, Jack Bauer? Donato, Fernando. Hi, Bruce. Hello, Donato. Kids, Miranda, Olaf, my kids expect service to be just like the cruise lines when we get back. Buttered bread on the table, etc. MG Tobe, this is a great time to buy all the shares, cheaper than 30 years ago. That's if they don't go broke, of course. Sean, I was 12 years old on my first cruise with my grandma. They made Caesar salad at the table from scratch. It was an amazing thing. Scimitar Cruise Line. Have you ever been to a restaurant where they make Caesar salad from scratch? I mean, real Caesar salad. It is kind of neat to watch with the egg and the anchovy. And if they really make it the way it was made, yes, because those smells that are emanating out of that wooden bowl while they're making it right in front of you is really something. I agree. I remember the dinner would arrive on the ocean liner. The waiter would arrive and they would have the tray, and he would lower the tray, and on the tray would be the entrees, but each tray, the entree would have a bowl on it, would have a silver covering. And so they would put that plate down and take the silver cover off, and there would be your meal. And all of us would have our meals revealed at the same time pretty well between the waiter and the busboy. A real production number. If you go back further in time, and if you're in first class on, say, a Cunard line back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, you used to be in the main dining room, and you would order. You tell the waiter, "Yeah, I feel like having some steak or roast beef or whatever." They would bring the carving station to you. So you're sitting at your table with your wife and or another couple. The four of you would be sitting there at the table, and your waiter would come by, and a gentleman would come by with a table on wheels, and the table would be brought right to your table side and would have this gigantic silver dome over top of it. And the gentleman was wearing a chef's hat would slide open the dome in front of you, and inside this dome, on top of a huge silver platter, it would be like 3 feet in diameter minimum, would be meat, nothing but meat. This would be like the beef. And he's a carver. The gentleman has the fork, the big fork, and the knife to carve the prime rib, let's say, for you on the spot. And you would point to, I'd like a little of that outside cut over there, or I like some of that medium rare over there. And he would be cutting away the meat for you and putting it on your plate right at the dinner table. All you want, exactly what you want. The next carver would come by with fowl, a chicken or goose or turkey or whatever. And then sometimes it would be the carver with the fish selection, and it would all be ready to eat, cooked, and it would be served fresh. Then the vegetables would come by, and you'd have your vegetables placed on. I mean, folks, days gone by, service long gone, but it might be coming back. I don't know. Nostalgia is a wonderful thing, Bruce. So is a good memory. Jack Bauer, thoughts on Hawaii? Will it happen the end of November 2020? I am doubtful. Stephanie, Bruce, where is your February cruise going? The February cruise hopefully is leaving from, I believe it's Miami or Port Canaveral, and we're heading for Grand Cayman. We were heading for Aruba and Cozumel. It was an 8-day sailing on the Odyssey of the Seas, brand new ship from Royal Caribbean. But we're not sure if it's going to happen or not, because we're not sure if the Odyssey will be ready or not. And of course, the future of cruising. But that was the deal. All the links for that are down below. You want to find out about my group cruises? The links are down below. Ambren Travel had made a page just for the group cruises. The pricing is there. The itinerary is there. All the room categories are there. Check it out. Ambren can help you. JRS, Jan is here. Oh, terrific. I didn't miss you. You have 206 thumbs up today. Thank you, Jan, for being here today and letting me know. Temi Scott, I wonder if they still are doing updated construction on MSC's private island. I know they were. And I think they were pretty well completed, but I think they were still doing, touch-ups. So maybe they are. Donna, thank you. Welcome to the family, says Ray and Sue. David Woodbury, you cannot forget, leave out Flaming Baked Alaska. Yes, the Flaming Baked Alaska. They were still doing that on a number of the Carnival cruises up until lately. But, the desserts would be something, and the service would be second to none on these ships. This is 1962, crossing the Atlantic. Food was what it was all about. It was all about food. You had breakfast at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. scheduled time. You had to be there. And then you had lunch at whatever time that was, 12, 1. Then you had dinner at 5 or 6 or 7, whatever time that was. And then during the day, we kids had activities to do, and in the evenings, our parents would grab their cigarettes and they would head to the main ballroom where the dance band was playing, and they would dance and drink and smoke the night away and have just a wonderful time. The jokes and the stories, while the kids are sleeping in their bunk beds in their cabins, because my mom and dad made sure we had a big dinner every night. If one of the selections was turkey and gravy and mashed potatoes, my mom and dad made sure we got that. Lots of turkey for those kids. And then they would take us to the bedroom, and we would get into our PJs, and we'd get into our bunks, and mom and dad would go back out, and they would not take off their fancy clothing. My dad would have on his suit and tie. My mother would have on a different dress every night, and dressed to the nines every night. And they'd be gone for hours. And yeah, they loved that trip back to Canada. They loved that cruise. It was a lot of fun. MG told, miss the Italian pasta freshly made at dinner. Oh, man. Tim Bowman, I missed the baked Alaska that was served in a production line coming down the stairs on the Amsterdam Dutch hats. Lots of nostalgia. Yes. Jan, they were still making Caesar salads in the specialty restaurants. Right on. Jan, at your table. Oh, so nice. Sylvan, I still make Caesar salad tableside from scratch. It always impresses the guests. Absolutely, sir. Jan, Sylvan, what time is dinner? Jack Bauer, thank you, sir. Love your show. Stay safe. Thank you, Jack. MG, this is supposed to be the move active hurricane season in the Caribbean, the most active season in the Caribbean. Right on. We'll keep an eye on that, my friend. Jan, we also used to be invited to the captain's table. Oh, the old days. Donato, is there hope to cruise in the South Pacific next year? I hope so. I just don't know. So many changes are coming. Sylvan, I also have a skit where I turn water into wine while quoting John the John verses 1-9, the wedding at Canada. Oh, very good, sir. Eric Z, I was on the MSC Island last December. We were the second ship to use it. It was open, but a lot needed to be done at that time. Yeah, I'm sure that they have been working on it ever since. And without passengers to get in the way, they've had a wide open ability to just finish it off and get it get it all done, assuming that the budget is there, the workers are there. I'm sure it is, because MSC has deep pockets. They have done layoffs of American staff just a few days ago. They announced that, but MSC is deep pocketed, and it would be in their best interest to get the island fully ready and get those plants planted in there, get those trees, get the roots some strength, make sure that that all the greenery is in effect and that type of thing. The final touch-ups will be done, so that when the next ship arrives, the next batch of tourists arrive, that it'll be in top shape, of course. David Woodbury, the gala midnight buffets. How about those? Emily, on Amber & Travel website, who is Jim Zim? Just curious. Jim Zim has a YouTube channel, Jim Zimmerman. If you ever look him up, great guy. He loves to talk about model railroads. He loves to talk about dogs, and he loves talking about going on cruise vacations. And Jim Zim has been a YouTuber for quite some time. He has about 300,000 subscribers, something like that. And he loves posting videos when he does a cruise. So if you want to see some really nice photography of past cruises that Jim has been on, check out Jim Zim. Now, Jim Zim uses Amber & Travel as his official travel agency for his own travels and for his channel. And he's been putting together group cruises. And I talked to Jim Zim, couple of years ago, I first was able to talk to him, had a private chat with him, and I was mentioning about looking to do group cruising myself, and he said, "Why don't you talk to the gals at Ambrin Travel? You should use them. They're just terrific. I've been using them for years and years and years." So I gave Caitlin a call at Ambrin, and Caitlin Gallagher, and Caitlin. Just love the way Caitlin operates. So she has three people, herself and two other gals who work independently from their homes for Ambrin Travel. She provided a phone number just for my channel, which is again down below. She has a website up and running for cruising, and she had a page for Jim Zim, and now she put a page together for Traveling with Bruce. And so the two group cruises that I've organized with her, she's handling all the bookings. She handles all the logistics. I don't screw it up. Whatever money is going to the cruise, it doesn't go to Ambrin. It goes direct to Royal Caribbean. You get your own account. It goes to them, and she is your quarterback. She's handling the whole logistics of the cruise. And I have told all of my viewers, if you want to get top-notch, excellent one-on-one service, make a call to that 904 number, and one of the three gals will take care of whatever you need, including if you have a credit right now. If you've got a credit on any cruise line for cruising going forward, you can talk to them about your credits. They can look them up for you to make sure that they're in place. They can help you then with all the rules and regs as to how you can use them, where you can use them, when you can use them, and they will help you book a cruise, whatever cruise you want to book, whether it's with me or on your own. Even if you want to do an all-inclusive vacation, or you want to do a trip to Disney World next year, you want to talk to them about booking something like that, they'll do that for you. They'll book you an all-inclusive trip in Europe, or if you want to do any kind of tours, they can handle anything travel related, not just cruising. So I recommend Ambrin. They'll take care of you. You'll get the human touch. You'll talk to human beings, and if they're with another client when you call, they'll get your name and number, and they'll call you back, or there'll be a message popping up. Just leave your name and number. Tell them you're with Traveling with Bruce. They will call you back and take care of it, and you won't have to deal with the computer. You don't have to deal with press 6 for this, press 5 for that, press 2 for that. You'll do everything with a human being. So there you go. There's a quick plug for Ambrin. John Weir, Bruce, what is your YouTube schedule going forward? Are you going to stay live at a certain time? John, I don't have a schedule. I normally don't have a schedule when things are normal anyway. When my channel is operating normally, I just upload videos whenever news is breaking, or I feel like I should, do a video on this topic or this topic. Going live, the only live schedule I keep is Mondays. Monday at 7:00, I am live with my sponsor members, where you can join become a member of this channel. And at 8:00 on Monday Eastern time, I go live on my YouTube channel to the world. And those two are cut in stone. I'm almost always live every Monday, if at all possible. The rest of the week, you never know. This live show right here was not announced. I posted it with about 40 minutes to go before I went live. And so that's why I tell you, if you're following me and you're a subscriber, number one, that's your first step. Number two, there's a little bell icon somewhere on my channel. It might be right here, right down here, or down here. If you hit the bell icon, you will get an email every time I go live, or am announcing a live show, or issuing a video from YouTube. You'll get one of those, and that way oh, he's up to something again, and then you can pop in at your leisure. Thanks for being here. Emily, thank you for answering, Bruce. Now we know. John Weir, Bruce, what is your YouTube schedule going forward? Are you going to stay a certain time? Never mind. Move on. JRS, if we add the downers, we have 228 thumbs. Eddie, hi. How you doing? How you doing there, Eddie? Ray Sylvan, my party trick is turning wine into water. Donato, me and my wife, Marie, we're getting a lot of friends. Any cruises, because I used to bring my Canon Canon selfie printer, and if I took a picture, I'm giving it to them right away free. Oh, you would be popular with friends on a cruise. Yes, you can take a photo and give them a hard copy on the spot. No kidding. Anthony Fortuna saying hi. Hey, Anthony. Sylvan, I turn red wine into yellow liquid. Never fails. That's called renting wine. Jan is laughing. Dorothy, yes, I get it. Glad to get it. I get my info. The little bell icon is what Dorothy's talking about. Hit that, folks, if you want to keep getting updates on my shows. Absolutely. All right. Getting close to the end, I think. I've been on for 2 hours, 6 minutes. Unbelievable how time flies when you're having fun on live shows. Patricia, I have a cruise coming up in November. I have until September to cancel and get a refund minus my deposit. Should I wait to cancel, or is it best to cancel now? I wouldn't cancel if you don't need the money. If you don't need the money, sit tight. Let them cancel on you and you'll get all your money back, or you'll get a credit worth more than what you gave them, most likely. And then you can decide what to do yourself. If that's the way to go, it's up to you. Wanda, hi, Bruce. Love all the good food and choices. Right on, Wanda. Billy Ray, Bruce will be sailing. We will be sailing in August. I hope for the best for you, my friend. David, whenever and wherever your channel is great. Love the live chats. Thank you, David, so much. And all of you are here. Eddie, hey, Bruce, I hope you're doing good today. Talk to you later. Goodbye. Stephanie, that's correct about a predicted active hurricane season. We are being told to make sure we add extra along with PPI, the virus, to weather prep here in the Gulf States area. Interesting. Tammy, this quarantine is helping me to save a lot of money. Thinking about splurging on a balcony cabin with the Disney Fantasy. Nice cruise line. That'd be a lot of fun. David eats chocolate. Bruce, was there any update on classifications of chocolate on board future cruises? No updates on chocolate on board future cruises. I just know that there is chocolate on cruise ships. There will always be chocolate on cruise ships. Some cruise lines have more chocolate than others as far as variety goes. I know that if you go on an MSC cruise, they have a chocolatier type area. Looks very scrumptious, but that's all I know. But I love chocolate too. Oh, they can always bring your own, Jennifer says too. Yeah. Sean, the trivia yesterday was fantastic. Thank you for being part of that. Anthony Rio, if Carnival Mardi Gras is being delayed because of virus, yeah, it could well be. Sheila, always glad to see you. You are a bright spot in my day. I look forward to your show. Debbie Downers are in everyone's life. Sail on. Yeah, there are a few Debbie Downers out there, aren't there? We do the best we can with what little we have. Jan is saying, bigger tips, bigger chocolates. More chocolate the merrier. I say I love chocolate too, and can't get enough of that good stuff, man. I wish chocolate was the virus. Wouldn't that be great if chocolate was the virus? You gotta have a chocolate every day to make sure the virus goes away. I'm in on that one, without a doubt. Any crochet needs to make donuts on cruise ships. I miss having donuts. Need to have donuts on board cruise ships. Right on. I do like going to those cafes, where they have the cappuccino bars. On like Princess, for example, if you want a cappuccino or a latte, you order it and it's extra. You pay for that. But over on the side, they have under glass, they have all these desserts sitting there, and you can have any one of those, no charge whatsoever. So I love getting one of those lattes and saying, give me one of those tiramisus over there. I'll have one of those to help, down my coffee. Just makes life a little easier on board a cruise ship. I love that. Debbie Manuel, hey, can't we change that old saying to Donna Downers? Debbie, I hear you. Debbie, you're not a downer as far as I'm concerned. It's all good. They're those D downers. What can I tell you? There are plenty of D downers out there. I hear you, and the less the better. Thank you, Debbie. Love it. All right, guys. There you have it. Did you enjoy today's show? I hope you did. Thank you for giving me thumbs ups all day on this show. I really do appreciate it. Jan is saying, I agree, Debbie. How about Donald Downers? The D Downer, the big D Downer. Oh, my gosh. John, hopefully a vaccine within 12 months and then very few changes needed to cruising. Wouldn't that be something? Tom Henry, how about Doubting Thomas, Debbie? Doubting Thomas Downers. I don't know. Oh, my gosh. And Dorothy Phillips, yes, I had fun, Bruce. Thank you for being here, Dorothy, as well. Tom Henry too, thank you. Oh yeah, Stephanie, you're getting me going now. Krispy Kreme donuts, yes. Tim Hortons donuts up here in Canada. Emily, I had fun. Be safe, Bruce, and stay healthy. Thank you, Debbie Manuel. Oh, sorry for that one, Thomas. Jan, I'm so glad I didn't miss you today. Kids Miranda, thumbs ups to you, Bruce. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all of that. Thank you, those of you who were kind enough to do a sticker today or a super chat. Super donation. Thank you for that very much today. I appreciate that. I've had a few of those lately. And those of you going to my RedBubble store, thank you for heading over there, picking up some items. Absolutely wonderful. I love it. JRS, thank you so much, Bruce. Eddie, thank you so much. Proof, talk to you soon. JRS is down. Jen is saying you get 221 thumbs ups now. 221. That's awesome today, guys. Gotta love that. Those really help the analytics of the show. All right, guys, have a pleasant Saturday afternoon wherever you are. It's 12:14 here in Creston, 3:14 Eastern. And have a great week and a great weekend. We'll see if any breaking news happens. I'll just come on in with another show. And hopefully we'll get this channel back to normal in the near future. I thank you so much for that. Pamela, thank you. Thank you. Have a nice one, Bruce. Thank you, Pamela. Wanda, thank you as well for your kind words and thumbs ups. Debbie Manuel, stay safe, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Toodles from Debbie in Chico, California. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Take care today and tomorrow, and keep an eye on TWB. Tell your friends about us. Join me on Facebook. Share my videos to everyone you know any way you can. And thank you for promoting TWB. Emily, take care. Have a good walk with your dog. We'll see you later, everybody. Bye for now.